All right, that's not right. What the hell? What's up, everybody? Still trying to figure out the kinks for this StreamYard shit. But how's everybody doing? That episode was fucking fire. I've seen it like 4 times now. All right, there we go. Okay. All right. What the fuck? Oh, I got the YouTube window open. There we go. Cool. I'm about to hop in the chat real quick and give everybody shout outs. Let me turn this music all the way off. All right. Let's see. Shout out to, go all the way up to the top here. Shout out to Cat Shepherd, Brian Williams, Rick, Basket Case, Bridget Scott. Already did that. Melanie Ramsel, Rick, John Haymaker. What's up, bro? Flynn goes in. Liz, Cat, Pebbles. How's everybody doing? I think that's a Patreon of mine. How's everybody doing? Type in the chat where you're from. I'll try to shout out locations at some point in the chat. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to start out with talking about episode 3 because I feel like episode 2 was really good, but after watching the teaser for episode 3, that's the one thing that I need to kind of get out of the way before we really, start. I don't know if you all feel that same way too. Dario, Dead Voter, SG Archer, Summer LA, Brett Jones. I think I got everybody. All right. Well, yeah, everybody type in the chat if you are watching live right now. Like I said, we're about to do this. Let's talk about episode 3 promo, where I'm going to be discussing episode 2 in depth. I got a lot of shit I want to say. But holy shit, Aegon the 3 is coming. He's coming. Aegon the 3. What the fuck am I talking about? Well, he is eventually at the end of the show. Aegon the 2 is coming for your ass. I can't wait. I'm pretty sure we've already seen his dragon Sunfire just in really weird lighting. But basically, there's Alicent in her hairnet. Y'all can see my mouse, right? And then we have King Viserys. But then most importantly, in the middle, that's Aegon the 2. And if you'll see the caption, Otto's saying, predicting the future. This guy's like, he's a green seer. Just kidding, he's not. But that's what happens. That's what happens at the end of this. I'm going to talk about this more in depth, but in episode 2, they kind of set it up. If you have not read the books at all, really, if you haven't even seen the trailers or paid attention to the leaks or anything like that, you would think that there was almost a Dance of the Dragons in tonight's episode, right? Syrax landing like that, right? You see how much bigger Caraxes is, so it wouldn't have been that much of a fight. Spoiler alert, Caraxes ends up... Spoiler alert, come back in like 5 seconds. Caraxes ends up killing the biggest dragon, so Syrax would have gotten its ass handed to him. But yeah, I like the way that they set that up. It's yet another thing that they're changing from canon, because obviously that didn't happen in the books, but they're changing it from canon and making the show kind of more interesting, more dynamic. But like I said, we're going to talk about the episode 3 promo. There's just a few pictures or screenshots that I took from it that I want to talk about. So who else is excited to see Aegon the 2? He's pretty much left out of, we've at least seen the older version of Aemond One Eye. We saw him in the trailer. I think we've gotten a few different glimpses of him. One where he's staring down Jacaerys or Lucerys. I think it's Jace. I can't tell from the back of their head, but that's all in the inside the promo episodes. I've made videos on it. It's probably linked down below in the description if you want to go watch it. But it's really exciting to get to see, the actual enemies. The actual bad guys. Like Sir Otto's a bad guy. Yeah, he's menacing as fuck. But he's not a true baddie. Like he is. But these kids that we're seeing, this is obviously... Can you imagine if this is as old as Aegon 2 got and he just rode a dragon and did what he did? That'd be hilarious. They'd have to CGI him talking and shit. Like, I don't know, it'd be really funny. But anyway, yeah, the older version of him causes so much pain and strife, just as much as Aemond. And Aemond does it first. But we are in for some fucking madness. And then the next image. Whoa, didn't want to do that. This is Rhaenyra. She's wait, did it not share that? No, it didn't. All right, hang on. Give me a second. Not sure why I didn't immediately do that. Maybe if I could skip to the next one. But yeah, so this is basically what it is. Rhaenyra, from what we can tell, episode 3 is going to include, from what I've seen, she's probably this is going to be the episode where, spoilers, not really, she marries Laenor. Episode 3 is probably going to be where that proposal happens, and by the end of it, like, their wedding is either going to have happened or will be happening at the beginning of episode 4, or maybe they may even skip over it. I don't know. We've seen leaks of the tourney scene that happens in the episode 3 promo. Really exciting. The show's heating the fuck up. I saw someone in the chat had said, like, the politics are getting lit. Like, literally, it's getting crazy. I will say that the pacing of this episode was a little bit slow, but like I said, read the books. It makes any slow moment of this show so much better, because usually the moments that you think are slow, when you have the underlying context of fire and blood, it's so fucking not. So not. Like, we get to talk about Valyria and the blood mages, and I'm actually, as soon as this live stream is over, I'm going to upload a video of me breaking down the episode. So that'll be live, depending on how long this live stream goes for, maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see. My son is currently content right now, and so is my daughter, and my girlfriend's got them locked in. So yeah, let's see how that goes. But yeah, this is basically what it's going to be. Rhaenyra is going to be forced into doing things she doesn't like. Like, that's a really funny face, and I took that intentionally. I did. Look at his face. It's hilarious. Wait, what's the line? Even I do not exist above tradition and duty, Rhaenyra. I have to marry this beautiful woman and inseminate her and have all these fucking kids. You don't think I like doing this, Rhaenyra? This is basically what he's saying. I have to do stuff like that. To be honest, Emma Aaron just died not that long ago. It's only been 6 months in episode 2, and he had to hold her down. But, like, really, bro, like, it's not the same. She's the one that has to get fucked and has to have all the kids, not the one who gets to do the fucking, you know what I'm saying? So it's not exactly the same. But yeah, I get it. Like I said, it's really funny. Yeah. So Damon, all right. Our boys in the Stepstones, war has started. The actual location has increased, so the scale of the show is getting bigger and bigger. Like, the actors kept saying, this show, in comparison to Game of Thrones, is not as worldwide. But remember, in Game of Thrones, it was mostly in King's Landing at first, and in Winterfell, and then obviously it got bigger and bigger as the seasons went by. And like, they actually made it even bigger by shrinking the time it takes to get to a location, which kind of backfired, because it made everything feel smaller when you do that. Like, Westeros is fucking massive, right? Like, it's not like people say it's like the UK, and I kind of think it is, but like, you could drive across all of England in like 8.5 hours. So it's not, England's not that big. If you can cover it in 8.5 hours, I could drive 8 hours in my state and still be in my state in the US, right? So I think Westeros, and I'm not a map maker, and I could be making myself sound like an idiot, and that's part of doing these live streams, but if I'm not mistaken, Westeros is probably more like the US in as far as how far shit is. So when they made the world bigger and then decreased the amount of time it took to travel there. Anyway, this show is probably not going to make that mistake. The Stepstones, however, it's not that far, and there's going to be a slight time jump in this episode. Spoiler alert. There's time jumps in every episode, not spoiler alert. But Damon is ultimately going to kill Cragus Crabfeeder, right? We all know that. He's going to kill him probably by the end of this episode. That's according to the leaks. And I don't even feel like that's a spoiler, because we know that this guy's being set up to be like a bullshit villain. You want to see the real villain? The real villain of the show is this little baby right here. This little cute cuddly guy right here. He's a villain. He's a monster. As a matter of fact, isn't there another picture? I got another close-up of him. Oh, no, I didn't. But yeah, this is the villain right here. It's funny because my girlfriend's downstairs watching, what the hell is that movie called? The Omen. And that's basically who this little motherfucker is. Not at first, but we get to watch him turn into it. That's one of the benefits of starting out in the timeline so early. We get to watch this dude turn into... People are going to be like, okay, he's like Joffrey. Joffrey didn't ride a dragon. Joffrey didn't ride the biggest dragon in the world. Oh, the biggest dragon in the world. What the fuck am I talking about? Joffrey didn't ride the most beautiful dragon in the world. Aemond does that. Aemond rides Vaghar, right? All right. So yeah, let's see. What was the last screenshot that I took of the episode 3 promo before we get to episode 2 stuff? Yeah, this is going to be, like we said, that's just the close-up of, the other image. But there he is. There's the little Omen boy. Yep. You evil bastard. All right, but yeah, let's talk about episode 2. All right. I'm going to share some slides from that episode with you guys. All right. Actually, you know what might work better? Let me do this. Yeah, let's do that. I had those images pulled up in Photoshop because I was going to write funny things on them, but that's kind of too much. It'll distract me. So I'll just do the same thing I just did, but just with those images from episode 2. All right, so let's talk about this intro. Fuck. This intro is dope. Real quick, I saw the number just jumped up. We jumped from 150 to 180. Dope as hell. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If there's any super chats I missed or any questions I missed, I'm about to go back and recap all of that in the chat. I did get shout outs in the beginning, but what I just did for the last 10 minutes was talk about what's going to happen in episode 3. Heavy spoilers mentioning, right? So anybody just joining, please slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 420. What I forgot to do, get it? 420. What I forgot to do was this. And then all right. So yes, let's talk about the intro to the checking my audio to make sure it's using the right mic. All right, cool. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. The very first time I watched it was last night. Like I said, I've seen the episode 4 times. I caught the leak. I did see someone that worked on the show asked me a question about why do I watch the leaks? And before, you could argue that I had enough traction on my channel to I guess I was being greedy, right? By reading the leaks. I couldn't wait till the episode came out and watching the episode early or whatever. But now there is so many Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Fire and Blood YouTube channels, whatever you want to call it, that I kind of I appreciate the French dude who sent me the link on Reddit. Shout out to that dude. Fucking king, bro. I watched it last night. Then I watched it again when I woke up. Then I watched it again right before recording the video that I made. And then I watched it live. And I sent the link to HBO Max to all of my friends. So I've done my part. HBO got their money. Everybody that worked on the show has been paid. It just helps me out. But anyway, the intro, like I said, first time I watched it last night, I was kind of meh. But then I watched it again. And then I started taking screenshots so I could really zoom in on it, kind of what I got going on right here, right? And it's actually something that seems like it's kind of plain. There's some things that are missing. Right now, it's blood, a lot of blood. It goes over a few different sigils, namely Jaehaerys' crown. It ultimately makes the shape of a Targaryen family tree and shows you that they're all linked in blood, and ultimately it leads back to the Iron Throne and dragons, fire. That's what's missing from this intro. I think as the episodes progress, as characters die, as the show establishes itself, namely probably like episode 8 or 9, the intro is probably going to change, like add different things. That was what was famous for Game of Thrones. Like we would all sit and wait until the new intro would come out so we could see, oh, where's this character going to be? Or when Winterfell was being attacked by Ramsay, or when Theon infiltrated Winterfell and had it razed, right? And Ramsay tricked him, right? We saw Winterfell burning. We saw it in ruins and smoking. So that was really cool, right? This intro is likely going to have things like that. And I think the big missing element, because there's so much of it, blood, there's so much blood, the missing thing is fire, right? The show's based on a book named Fire and Blood. My favorite part was the fact that they kept the Game of Thrones theme song. You can't top that. This is set in the same world, and all of the songs that I'm hearing while the show is playing they seem for the most part new. I'm not sure if they are 100%, but holy shit, I'm trying to scroll to the bottom of the chat. But I do know that it just adds to the aesthetic. Like it not only is it really pleasing on the eye to watch, but it's also really pleasing on the ears to listen to. Let's talk about the next slide. Let's do that. You all let me know in the chat real quick. What did you think of the intro? Did you think it was lackluster? Do you agree with me in that it's missing some things, namely fire? Like there's going to be some dragons brought in. I think they're slowly, because there's so many dragons in the show, like almost 20 of them. I think George said there's going to be 17. There's 3 of them that are wild. Miguel Sapochnik has confirmed, who's a showrunner. He directed Game of Thrones episodes like Battle of the Bastards. So Ryan Condal brought him on, along with George R. Martin, brought him on for this new show. But Miguel Sapochnik has confirmed the 3 wild dragons: Cannibal, Sheep Stealer, and Cannibal, Sheep Stealer, and there's one, he gets killed, but Cannibal eats his ass. I don't know. You all let me know in the chat, right? But they're not getting cut from the show. So I think what they're doing with the dragons is introducing us to them and their personalities, right? So far, we've mostly only got to know Syrax and Caraxes. We haven't even seen any other dragons, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, what did you all think of the intro? Let me know in the chat. Brian Johnson says, are you a mod? Did I make you a mod? It doesn't show me if you're a mod in the streaming software that I'm using. Breanne is a Patreon of mine. There we go. All right, cool. Had to do that real quick. Yes, I agree with that sentiment. Sonia Charles, you didn't like it? Oh, I didn't say I didn't like it. Maybe you're talking about someone else in the chat. Why don't you like it? Let me know. Why don't you like the intro? Is it because it was kind of lackluster? Watch it a few times. It takes a couple times to get it. And then also, like I said, let's compare the first time we see it in episode 2 to how it looks in episode 10, because I really do think it's going to get better and better. The show has done too many like good things for me to not have faith that the intro is going to get good. And the only reason why I think everybody's super amped about the intro is because most people loved Game of Thrones intro. It gave you secrets and insight into the season. So that was dope. BioExplorer says, if it doesn't grow, I will be disappointed. Same. I will be too. But ultimately, could just skip it. The episodes are going to be bangers. And like if they hear that nobody likes it, or a lot of people don't like it, maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll give us a different intro. I know for sure it's going to change as the series progresses, but ultimately what it's doing is leading us into like an old Valyria show, I think. And I kind of talked more about that in my video that I'll be dropping here after we finish this stream. Viserys! Buddy's finger's fucked. We'll say that. Like, he's not, like, he's probably doing some finger fucking, but his finger, it's gone, right? Like, we saw it get covered in maggots. I don't think I took a screenshot of that. I'm not going to make you guys watch that, but you know, it's I don't know. I saw someone, and actually I've seen a few comments on my videos where people are like, dude, the Maesters are just trying to help him chill out. Like the Maester didn't kill the baby Balon. Well, they may never confirm that for the TV show, but ultimately, if we find out that Melos is working with Sir Otto, which he is, but as soon as they make it known on the TV show, right, for the average show watcher, I'm pretty sure we're going to find out that he's been poisoning the king. Like, he cut his finger on the Iron Throne, and the Iron Throne is rejecting Viserys as a ruler. And there's a saying in the Game of Thrones books, not a saying, but like it's a common theme, right? A thematic element that when the ruler is rejected by the Iron Throne, when the Iron Throne spurns him, when he gets cut, right? The same thing will happen to Rhaenyra when she eventually sits the Iron Throne. Y'all knew that was coming. We knew that was coming. It's and actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, because that's not even going to happen this season. But yeah, it's not a good sign when the Iron Throne doesn't want you to sit on it. You're probably gonna end in tragedy. Most Targaryen rulers do end in tragedy. Very few of them get to live out their lives fully, like Jaehaerys, the old guy that we saw at the beginning of the show. He ruled for 55 years. That's crazy. No other Targaryen came even close to that. There's a few that reigned for like 25 years or like 20 some years, but none of them got anywhere close to 55. So it doesn't happen often. Viserys, I would get the finger looked at. If I were you, I'd get it chopped off. I wouldn't let these maesters just do all of this stuff. Like, yeah, maggots eat dead flesh, and I think that's still a treatment that they still do now, right? Like, I don't know if it's maggots, but they do like leechings and stuff, and maybe they do actually use maggots to eat away dead flesh in certain extreme cases with like gangrene and shit, right? But just watch those maesters, dude. I don't know. Like I said, I've talked about that, or if I haven't actually said it, I talk about that a lot more in my my scene breakdown video. This was pretty interesting. I thought it was reassuring that it wasn't going to be too like super woke, even though I don't even like using that word, where Rhaenyra just gets to talk like an ass to the king. And that's not the case. You can't do that. He's the fucking king. And he basically sent her away, which is like you'd expect that from a king. It's an asshole thing to do. It's a dickish thing to do. But ultimately, the king is like, go away. You're like, it's what she's doing is undermining him in front of people who already undermine him. So, like I said, I don't agree with him sending her away. I don't think any normal person would, but he's the king, so you expect that. So get the fuck out. Go do some shit. These people are already at my neck, questioning everything I do, every decision I make. They've got something to say about it. You're going to do that in front of them, right? You have dragon riders. You have to go pick out a new fucking king's god because they're going to be protecting you too. I like that. I actually kind of like that because that's very believable, and that's what makes Game of Thrones so good. But it's dope because we find out of all of these people that are being shown to her, Cole is the only one with battle experience. So that's pretty dope. The next scene that I want to discuss, it's not really a scene. It's like, this was really disgusting. Those crabs eating those dead people. When I saw the screen or the images from when the show was filming, I was like, oh, they look like typical props. Like when Battle of the Bastards was filming, there was all these dead mannequins and they looked fake as shit. But then on screen, they looked amazing. I kind of forgot about that because I was back in like 2016. This is the case. The props for this scene when it was being filmed sort of looked terrible, but on the show, it looked really good. It was like it made my stomach churn a little bit, which is pretty good. I'm gonna do 2 more slides and then I'm gonna jump in the chat because I've been ignoring that and that's not right. This might take a while because I want some feedback from this. It was not as awkward as I thought it was. That one out of context clip that we got from those Aussie cunts, or I'm sorry, Aussie CU, the YouTube channel. Basically, they like the day before yesterday, they released this accidentally early, where it was a lady who had probably never even seen the episode, probably just watched that one clip, probably never even watched Game of Thrones. She's like, oh my God, this is really hard to watch. Isn't it hard to watch? Right? And basically just talking shit about it. But I tweeted it. I didn't even respond to nobody's response. I just wanted to see what people wanted to say because I'm not going to make my response public until I see the whole thing because I feel like a duty to do that, right? But now that I've watched it, it wasn't as cringy as I thought, but still extremely cringy. The most cringy part was when she said, "I'll give you lots of children." I was like, what the fuck? She's supposed to be 12. She looks like she's like 6, but that was the whole point. This kind of shit did happen, and it was supposed to be really hard to watch. But ultimately, yeah, I don't know. The Australian news channel probably didn't help because a lot of the times, if someone reacts a certain way and it's popular, people see that way to emote to something is trending, then they'll do that. That's kind of what happened to certain moments. Game of Thrones season 8, but yeah, no, this was pretty gut churning as well. Definitely cringy. Not as cringy as, like I said, when it was put into context. When you get to see the whole scene, he's like, dude, what the fuck? He didn't want to like hurt the little girl. He didn't want to be like, no thanks, right? So he went and told their parents, like, what the fuck are you guys thinking? Like come on, it's a little girl, right? Harwin Strong is gonna eventually be brought in. That's Lionel Strong's son. Lionel was the one who basically said, "Hey, you should marry Lena." Which, to be honest, if Lena was like older, like Alison's age, he's gonna marry Alison. He's gonna have lots of children with her. If Lena was her age, then yes, it totally does make more sense. But come on, what do y'all think? Do y'all think this was hard to watch? This is a good one. LOL. So yeah, like I said, I haven't actually I tweeted it, the scene from the YouTube clip on my Twitter. Go follow me at Sir_Hunts. But I didn't actually respond to anybody who responded to me. And one of them was TheBioExplorer. And she goes, again, even in the early 1900s, girls 13 and 14 were married off. It wasn't just ancient time. Yeah, for sure. Also, in ancient times, a lot of people don't realize this about medieval history, English history, the kings and queens, the knights. They would wait until the woman was like 16 or 18 a lot of times because they realized that when women would have children at such a young age, you get birth defects, birth deformities. A lot of the times the girl would die during childbirth. So it's not quite as young as most people think. So people do say that, yes, and this did happen, yes, but ultimately, most of the time, even though they were married or betrothed or whoever, and like they would marry their cousins to keep wealth in the family and all that shit, right? They would still wait until they were older to procreate for a simple science fact, because you have way more complications. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to, but yeah, no, for sure. This definitely did happen. Thank you for sharing your feelings about this, BioExplorer. Oh shit, we got a super chat from the North Must Remember. Speaking of which, go follow with him. He makes I don't know if he's making a different kind of content, but he was making Game of Thrones season 8, sort of like fan fiction, which is really dope. So go subscribe to him. This dude not only does a lot of super chats, he's one of my Patreon producers. He's also like clearly a channel member, but also he does shit like give super chats for other people's questions that I may miss. So that's really fucking dope. But anyway, the North Must Remember says, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, do you think they'll water down Blood and Cheese or ignore it completely? Well, I'm glad you asked me that when I still have this thumbnail up. They actually made this a little bit harder. Like when I was reading Fire and Blood, and when I'm listening to Fire and Blood, and you hear the orator's version of it. So there's 3 different versions of the story, right? The story bounces back and forth. It usually tells you what happens in each version of them. But when he turns her down in the books, it's not that. You kind of just go, well, yeah, of course, she's young. It makes sense. The TV show somehow made that harder to watch, which is like, like BioExplorer was saying, that kind of shit did happen. It's realistic, right? But so to answer your question, Blood and Cheese, that's probably gonna happen in season 2. And I'll do a spoiler warning here because that's happening in season 2. Hopefully, most of the people watching this, if they haven't read Fire and Blood and they don't care about spoilers, so that's why they're watching this, they'll go read Fire and Blood, because you'll get the best information is you to take it in yourself, because there's either something that I'll forget, there's something that I interpreted differently than you would interpret, you watching this, and then also it's just a really rich experience. Simon Vance does a really good job narrating. Not as good as our boy Roy Dotrice. He died in like 2018, but it's just a different experience to listen to a book and to read it, and also to just consume a book as opposed to consuming a TV show. Blood and Cheese. That was all that spoiler warning. Blood and cheese. Well, after Lucerys dies by Aemon in the battle above Shipbreaker Bay, which happens in episode 9 or 10 of this season, right? Of this season. So just in about 7 weeks, it's going to light the fucking internet up. It's going to destroy HBO servers, right? Lucerys is killed by Aemon when he goes to treat with Storm's End. If you'll notice, the Baratheons are already being really dickish to Rhaenyra doesn't really notice that. She's a child. This is before she even has Lucerys. But Boromund's son, Boros, has the same sentiment. So he basically says, look, when Aemon and Lucerys confront each other, it's basically because Lucerys took Aemon's eye when they were children. They were fighting over Aemon stealing Vaghar at Laena's funeral. That's Laena right there, the little girl. When she gets older, she's gonna die. They're fighting at her funeral, and Aemon's eye gets missing. So then at the end of the season, there's a long time jump. They're adults. Not really. They're teenagers. And Mr. Baratheon's like, you cannot fight under my roof. So then, obviously, Lucerys leaves, gets on Arrax. It's a storm, right? The place that they're at, Storm's End, is called Shipbreaker Bay because it fucking storms pop up out of nowhere and just destroy the shit out of ships. It's it's not safe to fly. Arrax is a smaller dragon. Lucerys is a younger rider, right? So they escape. And initially, at least in the books, I don't know how they're going to do it on the TV show, Aemon is like, yo, whatever. He's leaving. And one of Boros's daughters is like, I'm glad you picked my sister. God, I'm going to get so sidetracked. Obviously, Boros is treating with Aemon, and they're talking about which one of Boros's daughter Aemon's is going to marry, right? So after Lucerys leaves, one of the daughters that Aemon doesn't pick says, I'm glad you picked my sister because I want a husband with all of his parts, me talking about his missing eye. And she basically says, you don't have your balls. So then that riles him up, and they have to put that part in the show. They have to. Riles him up. He hops on Vaghar, biggest dragon in the world, Laena's dragon, and then kills Lucerys. And according to Mushroom, he cuts his head off after Lucerys' body washes ashore. Aemon cuts his head off and serves it to the daughter, Floris. I think it's Floris Baratheon, who called Aemon out for not having balls. He serves her the head on a bed of kelp. So I hope that actually happens. I don't want to see that, but I hope it actually happens because that's kind of crazy. So all of that causes this scene named Blood and Cheese. And let me take the screen share off because there's no point. We're not talking about Lane anymore. All of that makes this scene called Blood and Cheese, and that's what the North Must Remember is talking about. He's saying, will they stick with it? So basically, Damon sends a letter to Dragonstone. He has already taken Harrenhal. It's one of the first things he does. He sends a letter to Dragonstone, to Rhaenyra, and he says, an eye for an eye, a son for a son, right? And then he sends a rat catcher named Cheese, and then a former knights or a former city watchman named Blood, who supposedly got kicked out of the city watch. Remember, Damon is known as Prince of the City. Mysaria is still in the city, so Mysaria hires these two dudes that Damon knows. Well, he might not know the red catcher, but he does know Blood. Blood used to work on the city watch. City Watch is that guard, the Gold Cloaks, the guard company that Damon has currently staked out at Dragonstone, right? So those dudes he has with him. One of them gets kicked off of the Gold Cloaks because he rapes a woman and then beats her to death or some shit like that. So he's no longer a member of the Gold Cloaks. He's just hanging out in probably the scummiest part of King's Landing, known as Flea Bottom. So Mysaria hires these two dudes, Blood and Cheese, and Cheese is a rat catcher, and he knows the inner workings of Maegor's Holdfast, which is the internal parts of the Red Keep, which is something that I've talked about recently in a lot of my videos. It's basically Rhaenyra sneaking out. Rhaenyra uses these same tunnels that Arya's in when she's supposedly next to the dragon's skulls in Game of Thrones Season 1, and she's listening to Varys and Illyrio Mopatis talk. That happens in Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 7, I think, maybe Episode 6. That same tunnel shit, and it's also the same tunnel system that Tyrion uses to escape and go to the Tower of the Hand and kill his father and kill Shae. Speaking of which, I've actually interviewed the actress who plays Shae. But anyway, Blood and Cheese use those tunnels to sneak into Alison's chambers and Helena's chambers, and they kill Helena's children. And Aegon is never the same after that. And Helaena goes like half retarded. No, she gets really sad. She breaks down. She's kind of it's terrible. So do I think they're gonna not go as ham on Blood and Cheese? They're not gonna ignore it completely. I'll answer that flat out. Hell no. This show is going to put it to like a 10, like guitar solo. If I have time, I'll play my guitar solo to a 10 on Blood and Cheese for sure. They're probably going to do some crazy shit like have Blood rape Helaena. And that's the reason why Helaena was like, got crazy. Maybe not full on rape her, maybe cut her garments and you see some like big old Helaena titties or some shit. And like, I know I'm joking about that, but it's a TV show. So I can joke about it. I can make light of it because it's not real. It's fake, right? But yeah, maybe we'll see some Helaena titties and maybe Blood and Cheese will do some sick and twisted shit that will make this like a 10. Like, I bet y'all don't even know this, but Theon totally does not have his dick cut off in the books. Look it up. If you've never read the books, Theon is not missing his dick. It is not definitively said that Theon doesn't have his dick. That's something that the show made up. The show went ham on that. Dan and Dave were like, oh, well, they're not English. They're American. They're like, dude, totally doesn't have a dick for a TV show, dude. We're going to cut his dick off. In the books, Theon has his dick, so you could say that George is not as sadistic as Dan and Dave in certain parts. So Blood and Cheese will be turned up lot 2 and 11, right? Lot 2 and 11. This is me fondling an invisible air Targaryen nipple. I want to see some Targaryen titties. I haven't seen any. Type in the chat if you want to see some Targaryen titties. Thank you for that super chat. The North must remember. Corlys Velaryon was dope. Yes, he was. The actor portraying him is doing a really good job. Corlys Velaryon, the character, is kind of a cunt. He needs to sit the fuck down. You got to realize who you're talking to, buddy. That's the amiable, fun-loving party king. Why are you being a dick to him? What you should do is try to manipulate him, not Damon, right? So he's manipulating Damon into doing the conquest of the Stepstones. Not really manipulating. You can't really manipulate Damon. But if he was smarter, he would get more from the king if he would, just be a bit nicer. But that's also part of his character. That's why Sir Otto doesn't like him, because he's self-made. They kind of like added that to like a 10 on the TV show. Because like, yes, Corlys does get wealthy. And yes, Corlys does double the wealth of House Velaryon in a single trip in his 9th voyage. He does that. He brings back spices and tiger skins and all this fancy shit. But ultimately, it's not like he's fucking poor and House Velaryon is nothing. In the Game of Thrones TV show, they skipped out House Velaryon entirely. But House Velaryon still is a higher up house. Like, they're pretty wealthy, right? But that adds to his character. That adds to his mystique. And I'm interested to see how far they go down the route of him kind of like being a cunt to everyone because Rhaenys was skipped over. Like Lena just got skipped over. But ultimately, spoiler alert, this is like the 50th one. How many of these do I have to give? I don't know. Rhaenyra marries his son Laenor. Laenor's gay. Rhaenyra still marries him, so maybe he won't be like that afterwards. And like I said, this is not talking shit about Steve Toussaint, the dude who plays Corlys. This is talking about the character, and that's genuine critique. And I've always offered that on this channel. But yeah, Corlys Velaryon is a dope character. I just saw that. Yes, the throne was poisoned by Daemon when he was sitting on it, I think. When Damon was sitting on the throne in episode 1, and then it cuts the king. No, I think so. Like, there's this idea, there's this fan theory that the Mad King, Daenerys' father, was slowly poisoned over time. Whether that be from Varys, whether that be from Pycelle, right? If it's from Pycelle, he slowly poisoned him and made him mad with poison, right? And then he gets these dragon dreams, which is very obvious. That's what he's talking about, burn them all. He's seeing these White Walkers attack King's Landing and all this crazy shit that's going to go down in the books. It kind of happened on the TV show, right? That's what made him insane. And it doesn't help that he's also being slightly poisoned by Maester Pycelle. Pycelle kind of admits that. I don't have the time to talk about that in this video, but yes, he doesn't admit it directly, but the clues are there, right? The Mad King, there's like a turning point where he stops shaving his head, like he stops grooming himself, his nails get really long, and he's fucking insane. He becomes the Mad King. And it like kind of happens overnight. Like, I mean, not necessarily overnight, like he's driven mad over time, but initially when he started out, the Mad King was like really had a lot of prospect. The realm was like, yo, this dude is a pretty good fighter. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's not like that horny old King Aegon who made all of his bastards king, or made all of his bastards legitimate, right? After he died. He's not quite like that. He had a lot of good prospect. He was friends with Tywin. Tywin is you might not like Tywin Lannister, but he's kind of a good dude. He does a lot of good shit. He's a cunt. He does a lot of terrible shit. He does as terrible shit as he does good shit, right? But ultimately, the Mad King didn't start out that way. So there's the strong theory that Pycelle was poisoning him over time. When you add Dragon Dreams on top of that, and then when you add Rhaegar doing this sporadic Dragon Prince shit, yeah. I don't think Damon poisoned the throne and that's what happened. No, he's got like tetanus or something. He's got like some kind of infection on his back, like a staph infection on his back. The finger thing, that looks like black rot. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Type in the chat. What do you think that is? Hit the like button. Hell yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Alicent is a snake. The innocent act just to stab her best friend in the back. Let's bring up a picture of Alicent for that. Did I take one? This is an overshot of them. I should be able to zoom in on that. What, 30%? 40%? Yeah, there we go. Nice. Peeping in on the women's while they're doing their prayers. Might start jacking it or something. I'm just kidding. Sorry. I forget I'm live. I really did for like a split second because I've been doing this all day to prep for this live stream. I know it's not as good as it should be, but I don't know. I was making a joke. It's funny to me. Alicent is a snake. The innocent act is just to stab her best friend in the back. Actually, that's not true. Couldn't be further from the truth. The reason why I say that is because you can see Alicent is very much innocent of everything that is happening right now. It's all being forced upon her. She literally is being told by Viserys to go and talk to Rhaenyra. She doesn't want to do that. She's literally talking to Viserys because her dad told her to. She doesn't want to do that either. She keeps picking her nails. Anytime she's doing something she doesn't want to, she starts picking these fucking nails. That's one thing that they've added that's made her character have much more depth. But as of right now, she's more innocent than Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is disobeying the fucking king. And if we want to be moral oral, Rhaenyra's breaking more rules. So Alicent is innocent. Alicent, innocent. Hashtag Alicent is innocent. Start it. Let's do this. This show is what? What happened to Vaghar? Vaghar, after Vhagar's last rider died, holy shit, who the fuck was the last person to ride Vaghar before Laena claims him? Her. Well, I could tell you who the first rider was. Visenya. Basically, after the last rider of Vaghar died, they say in the show, Vaghar is living off the coast of the Narrow Sea. And then Laena mentioned that the people in Spicetown hear her song. At least I think that's what she said. It's kind of hard to tell because of the kid's accent, but the people in Spicetown hear Vaghar scream. We've seen Vaghar in the trailer. Spicetown, if you're unaware, is the town near where House Velaryon has its hold at, right? So not too far from Dragonstone. So in the next episode, Laena is probably going to claim Vaghar. That has to happen the next episode because time-wise, there's only 7 episodes after that, and ultimately Aemond's going to be riding Vaghar for a few episodes by the time he goes and kills. I've said it. I said it a bunch of Lucerys, right? So, yeah, that's what happened to Vaghar. I don't think Alison start out to backstab her friend, but her dad. Exactly. Yes, I agree with that. It's anything she's doing right now, she's 100% innocent of. She's being forced to do all this shit. What's happening, and that doesn't happen a lot in Game of Thrones and in A Song of Ice and Fire. There's very few characters that are innocent. So this is going to make it all the more harder for us when she does do shit like turn into a snake and start backstabbing Rhaenyra. Because you got to remember, in these first few episodes, she won't like that. It's like when you go to jail for smoking weed and it's for a really long time, and then you come out of jail and you learn all these new criminalistic behaviors. It's the same thing. She's learning how to do all this shit, so it's going to make her all the more sympathetic. And guess what? Gray, morally gray. Everything she does is in between right and wrong. She does shitty things and she does good things. Right now, she's mostly doing good things. She's doing what she has to do. Rhaenyra is bending the rules like hell. So, yeah. Oh, shit. I missed 2 super chats. We got, a $20 super. Holy fuck. Ain't got one of these in like 3 years since Game of Thrones was out. So I'm sorry for that. Everybody type in the chat. We're going to make, excuse me again. I'm drinking a soda. We're going to make, I guess everybody can't use this. Either way, we're going to make the Northwest remember the honorary Hand of the King for this stream going forward. That's fucking dope. All right, now to answer your question, let me zoom out of this a bit. Looks weird. Let's move on to the next slide too. All right, so he says, thank you so much for all the shout outs for my channel. To all the new subs, buckle up because it's a wild ride. Hell yeah. Make sure y'all go check him out. Again, that's fucking dope, dude. That's dope. You know what you just bought me, sir? 2 packs of Pampers. They're $9.99. I get it. Thank you. I don't need to do that. I'm not about to try to make people feel guilty. Thank you for that, man. Breanne Johnson says, I don't think they will water it down considering the stuff they have already done thus far. That's what the people want to see. Exactly, Breanne. And you were referring to Blood and Cheese, the Northwest Remembers last question. I agree. They're not going to water shit down. They're gonna add in blood to the water. You're going to ask for some water, like I did when the Emma Aaron pregnancy scene was happening. Like there's this debate on my channel, in my comment section, about when the Maester said you could either save the baby or save none of them, right? No one's arguing that, right? What I'm arguing is, why didn't you tell Emma? She was still very much a parent, aware of it. Or give her some opium, give her some milk of the poppy so that she could pass out and then cut the baby out. Do it fast. I don't know. There was a lot of things. And I think it was intentionally written and directed that way so that we would all be like, hey, this is fucking hard to watch. This is harder to watch than the Sansa rape scene that didn't happen in the books, right? In my opinion, that scene in the first episode is already, I think, as controversial, and it's because of all the right reasons of why it's controversial. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. How do you like your dragon eggs at Liz Fiola? I'm missing out on that. I don't eat dragon eggs because that's cannibalism, because I am a dragon. I am dragon daddy, baby. Dead voter, you're on mute. Is it still on mute? No way it's still on mute. Oh, man, dude. If that's an old... Dang it. Let me see. There's only one way to find out. I am Dragon Daddy. No, I'm not on mute. What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Nice trick there, buddy. Nice trick. You almost got me. Let's go back to that. Yeah. I thought the same about Mysaria and Shay. Same quality of acting so far. Shay? What do you mean? The actress who plays Shay, Sybil Kikili? I think that's how you say it. That's how I say it. She's awesome. She's a really good actress. Fucking amazing. Mysaria, good actress, good scenes. She's doing what they tell her to do. The accent makes me think she's in the 1990s cartoon Captain Planet. I keep waiting for it to go. I keep waiting for her to say, "We must go recycle the plants outside so that we can save our atmosphere." It's like a weird African, like Melisandre, like Valyrian subcontinent, what it would sound like if they spoke the common tongue, but they mostly spoke all the different types of Valyrian dialects over in Volantis and Valyria and Rashai. I don't know. It's kind of hard. I hope they do some. And I've never done anything professionally, but I think I'm pretty decent at accents. I hope they do something to help her with the accent. Kind of pulls me out a bit. I'm like, hey, are you going to recycle the trash, or are you going to suck Daemon's dick? I don't know. You're supposed to be reacting to episode 2, my dude. Is it? What do you do? Are you trying to be a little cunt, buddy, by telling me I'm on mute? Yeah, dude, that's what I'm doing. We're literally talking about episode 2. Mods, you know what to do. Get him out of here like Peter kicking out Lois. Get out of here, you fucker. Sir Hunt's reviews. Aegon the 2nd will be awesome. Famous last words. I wish I could set a timer for when House of the Dragon season 3 or season 4 episode 10 happens. Episode 9 maybe. Because that comment, I'll make you write it down on a piece of paper and eat it. Aegon the 2nd will be awesome. Oh, I am big fan of Aegon 2. Aegon the Older, as he's known in this, because Rhaenyra names her son Aegon as well, and it's a slight. So he's Aegon the Younger, but Aegon 2 becomes Aegon the Older because he's much older than Rhaenyra's son. But this guy's a cunt. I wouldn't say he's awesome. That's one of the last things I would say. I would say that guy that keeps saying that I'm not reacting to the show and that I'm on mute is a cunt more before I'd say that. But yeah, big fan. I'm a big fan of characters like that. Like, you could say that, yeah, Aegon's morally great. I hope they do the same thing they're doing with Alicent with Aegon too. That'll make him really sympathetic for everybody. It'll make it even harder for us to watch the shit that he does. But ultimately, you know, Wex is a secret Targaryen. What's up? Long time. I haven't seen you. I can't remember if you were in the live chat last week, but I've seen you comment on my videos for a long time. I love that username. It's my favorite. Wex is, if you're unaware, in the books, Theon Greyjoy, when he takes Winterfell as a squire, Wex, the dude's a mute. He ends up surviving the sacking of Winterfell, and when Theon gets taken hostage with Ramsay back to the Dreadfort, Wex ends up showing back up in Davos's last chapter in A Dance of Dragons. And he basically tells Davos and Wyman Manderley in the Wolf's Den that I know where Rickon is. Rickon and Asha went up, Asha on the TV show, went out to the place where they saw the cannibals and the unicorns. It's a place called Skagos. It's a really cool scene. He basically throws a dagger up against the wall and it flips and lands on a map. That's right where Skagos is. And Davos was like, yo, there's a million other places I'd rather go than that cannibalistic unicorn, which will turn out to be woolly mammoths looking motherfuckers. But anyway, all that's related to Wex, this person's username. That's not even their question. The question is, did Otto and his posse forget that Damon had a dragon? Really? Like, what the fuck were they thinking? It's like, was Otto willing to sacrifice himself to prove that Damon was a cunt? Did he think that because Caraxes is so far away that he was completely safe to pull swords on our boy Damon? Like, let me bring up the screen share for that. Like, bro, no. What the hell was he thinking? That's the bigger question. What do you see how fucking close Caraxes is on that hill? I didn't take a screenshot of that, but I did for the video. But yeah, like, dude, what are you thinking? He completely ignored the fact that Damon is not only has Caraxes, but is a fucking psycho. Like, you got to realize Damon's not level-headed. You know, he's fucking Prince Daemon. Let's see. I just paused the episode for a smoke break, but I had to tune in. Nice. Breanne Johnson says, the way Damon was at the funeral made me believe 100% that he would never do that to his bro. He just wants his brother to notice him, basically. Exactly. So maybe that's what Otto thought. Like, basically, Damon, you're showing out. If you want, I'll fuck you up in this fight. And we've actually seen in the trailer, this is not a spoiler, we've seen Daemon getting roughed up with short hair. He has short hair in the trailer when he comes back from the Stepstones after he's named King of the Stepstones after he kills Kragus Drahar. So, Daemon, I can't wait to see true Targaryen princelings. This is a side note. True Targaryen princelings who are super cunts, like Aerion Brightflame. Like, you cannot. And Ramsay, he does sound like Ramsay. He does sound like E1 Rayon, which I didn't technically meet, but I saw him walk by at a convention a couple of years ago. Pretty cool. Just thought I'd tell you guys that. Thought it'd make me look pretty cool. I've met a couple at a Game of Thrones stash. But yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. You pointed, basically, Breanne pointed out, if you're unaware, if you're just tuning in, Breanne pointed out that, the reason why is because Damon's just kind of being moody. Sir Otto, or at least I related that to Sir Otto, probably felt comfortable to, talk shit to him. He does. He wants attention. And in the behind the scenes episode, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan Condal, Miguel Sapochnik, and then Greg Yantis. I don't know how to say Greg's last name. He's Greek, but he sounds American. He sounds English. Like he's speaking English with no accent is what I'm trying to fucking say. I get frustrated. I'm trying to be clear, and then it's my ADD / potential self-diagnosis of autism. But yeah, they explain that in the inside the episode. They're basically saying like Damon feels not just like he's not as power hungry as he's putting off. He's putting on a show because, yes, he wants attention. He wants to have that reputation. He probably gets off on the reputation that he has in the city of being like the prince of the city and Lord Fleabottom, right? He loves that people think that about him. But the one person whose opinion he truly cares about, well, two people, probably Rhaenyra, one of them, right? That's why he's always giving her gifts and shit. But the other person, the one whose opinion really matters the most, is Viserys. And it's because both their parents are dead. And technically, they're a lot younger than they appear in this show. And like, that's kind of what it is. Like, my dad basically moved to Florida, like, when I was like 17 or 18. I haven't seen him since 2013, right? My mom has been in prison since 1996. So I can 100% relate to Damon acting out for attention from his older brother, who he likely considers and looks up to as a parental figure. So I can 100% relate to that. Like, I would do stupid shit. I would sneak out, right? I'd go hang out with dumbass people. We're all kids, right? So I'd go hang out with other like-minded individuals, and we do shit like steal golf carts and try to just get into as much in trouble as possible without getting caught, right? But ultimately, we did that for attention we weren't getting at home. So that's what Damon's. That's kind of what he's doing. Damn, we got another super chat. Thank you, Breanne Johnson, again, for being Patreon producer. We got a super chat from Vagharian. I'm way behind on these. This is from 10:49. This is from almost 10 minutes ago. I'm sorry. I need to read these faster. I'm just trying to be as thorough as possible. Vagharian, thank you for that. He or she or they says, every scene with Viserys and Alison, I'm like, dude, why the hell are you teaching your daughter about Valyria? You got to give, or why aren't you teaching your daughter about Valyria? You got to give her a strong position to be queen. I thought that too, but then immediately my Star Wars fan brain came and kicked in, because as a Star Wars fan, you have to fill in a million loopholes when you're watching Star Wars. So my brain, the Star Wars part of my brain kicked in and told me that, Rhaenyra probably knows all of this. She speaks fluent Valyrian. Like, it just melts off her tongue. And because of that, I think she's probably aware of all of these histories. Like, we saw her studying with Alicent, but also I think, like I said, it's my Star Wars loophole brain coming in. I think she already knows that. Maybe. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you for watching. This is dope. Holy shit. We got another super chat from Breanne Johnson. That's awesome. She says, for all the content during the long nights. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to send a message to my girlfriend and tell her, yo, we got some, we're getting stuff, baby stuff. It's fucking awesome. That's dope. Like I said, I haven't gotten super chats aside from last week in years. So I kind of forget, you know. LOL. Nice. The BioExplorer, Barbie Tuck. That was true. She was in labor, but once they knew they had to cut her open, they could have knocked her out. Exactly. Give her some goddamn opium or something. That's what milk of the poppy is. It's opium. Milk of the poppy. If I'm not mistaken, here's something you'll learn when you read the books. In the first Game of Thrones books, there's this alternate form of it. It's called, it's not milk of the poppy. It's like a wine. It's a poppy wine. And Khal Drogo takes it when he gets cut and it starts to get infected. Basically, Magi, right? The Magi is genuinely seems like she's trying to help him at first because she makes these cold compress things that Khal Drogo says, "Oh, it burns. I'm not using it." Right? He's a fucking savage idiot, right? That's the whole point. But it genuinely seems like she's trying to help him. She also offers him poppy wine, and he becomes addicted to poppy wine. They could have given her something like that, you know? I don't know. Yeah. Shout out from Costa Rica. Holy shit. Nice. Costa Rica is gorgeous down there. I'm actually kind of upset. Not that this has anything to do with Costa Rica, but my fucking watermelon plant. There's two things that could have happened. I either overwatered it or it was just too hot today. And the time I watered it, like, made the water that got on the leaves cook them. I don't know. But one of my little baby watermelons died today. So y'all type in the chat, RIP little baby Jubilee watermelon that Sir Hunts was growing. If you don't garden, you probably don't get it. But, and then also, type in the chat again, rest in peace, little baby Jubilee watermelon, because Sir Hunts lost another one that I stepped on, but I took a picture of it right before I stepped on it. Can you all see that? Go follow me on Twitter. I posted. You see that? That's my little baby watermelon. I stepped on that little motherfucker. Damn. But yeah, type in the chat. Please. RIP little baby watermelon. Those things are supposed to get up to 25 pounds. 25 pounds. And it's a weird oblong shape. Big joint. Anyway, getting back on track here. Thank you for watching all the way down in Costa Rica. Yo, Delco Steaks, what up, dude? You drinking the water, dude? What up, dude? How's it going? I haven't been to Philadelphia. I haven't been. That's where I was born at. That's why he's saying that. This dude's been watching me for a while. Shout out, Nick. What's up, buddy? I haven't been to Philadelphia since 2010, 2009. I've driven through it and I've flown over it, but I haven't actually been there in the city since 2009. And to be honest, my grandma passed away. I haven't been there since before then. But it looks crazy. I've seen videos where people will drive down fucking like just 3 or 4 blocks and it's just homeless people like openly shooting up drugs and doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the street. It's insane. Now, I have a family now. I definitely won't be going to go visit anytime soon. But I don't know. Yeah, shout out Philadelphia. Shout out Delco Steaks. If you are there, probably go get a Delco steak. Stay the fuck off of Broad Alley. Don't go by Broad Alley. Don't go anywhere near Logan Valley. I couldn't recommend that enough. Stay away from Logan Valley, which is like North Philadelphia. It's basically World War IV. Like, you guys hear World War III, everybody's like, yeah, we're getting ready for World War III. World War IV in North Philadelphia. Sir Hunt's Reviews. How bad do you want to smoke right now? What do you mean, a cigarette? I'm actually pretty good. I've been going for an hour. I'm pretty good. What I was going to go do is go check on my son real quick. And then while I was checking on my son, I was going to pop outside. But I don't need to do that. We've got 160 people watching right now. Thank you for making me want one. Just that a little bit more, though, buddy. Thank you for that. All right, so I already kind of talked about my Mysaria and Damon a little bit. I'm going to hop back in the chat here in a little bit, but I think ultimately what they're setting up is, and this is not really just because I know the spoilers of that it's going to kind of happen, but this is setting up a betrayal from Mysaria. Like, Mysaria is not going to become a snake to Damon, but she will ultimately betray him in some way. That's why he keeps spurning her. she's like, I came to you not for sex, money, and power and all that shit, even though definitely, that's one of the initial reasons, but she wants to be free. She wants to not have to be afraid. And Damon keeps taking advantage of her. So ultimately, she spurns him in the books when she basically tells Rhaenyra, after Daemon and Rhaenyra get married, she tells Rhaenyra that Daemon is sleeping with a dragon rider known as Nettles, who is this bastard-born girl who's half probably going to be Velaryon, because she's actually black in the book. She's like supposed to be brown skin is what they call it in the depiction of her that we've seen in the HBO DVD special. She looks like just like a black skin woman, right? But she's probably going to be half Velaryon well, I guess she could be full black. I don't know. Anyway, Mysaria tells on Daemon for sleeping with Nettles. And Daemon may not even be sleeping with her. It depends on, again, which version of the story you trust. But they're setting up an interesting relationship between the two of them. Because like I was mentioning earlier, the blood and cheese scene, Mysaria is directly connected to that as well. So, yeah. All right, let me talk about one more. This is something that I did mention too, Corlys. Like, I know it's the way they wrote his character, but it's something that they've just added. They've 100% added for the TV show, and I hope it could go one of two ways. He could intentionally be a character that people are supposed to hate in the first season, and eventually he kind of comes around. But I think what's going to happen is ultimately he's supposed to seem as this kind of contrarian, conflicting character. When you see him on screen, you're not really supposed to know what to feel yet. That's because he hasn't have an established arc, and they keep, leaking details about his past explorations, his past things that he's done, right? That makes him who he is. So it's kind of why he's acting this way, because he's around a bunch of people who come from these super, super wealthy families, even though House Velaryon is pretty fucking wealthy. They come from, the wealthiest families, which are Hightowers. We haven't seen the Lannisters yet, but we will, right? So the Hightowers at this time are the second most powerful family, right? Even though, Corlys thinks that Velaryon is, technically Sir Otto is closer to the king. So the Hightowers are the most powerful, especially after Alison marries the king, right? So I think, like I said, we're not supposed to like his character intentionally. And then when he goes and bonds with Daemon down in the Stepstones, and they spend a few episodes down there like warring, that's ultimately when we're probably Corlys is going to unanimously across the board be a fan favorite. Like, there are a lot of people that like him. I'm sure there's more people that like him than hate him. I don't hate him either, but I just said I don't really know what to feel when he's in a scene, because he's kind of like, hey, why are you guys all looking down on me kind of thing. And it's really like nobody else is really acting like that. But like I said, it's because they didn't have to double their wealth like Corlys, regardless of whether you agree with his decisions or not. He still got to where he was thanks to well, I guess you can't even really say thanks to himself neither, because that's just completely false, because House Velaryon has always been tied in with Targaryens. They've always married in between two. So technically, even though Rhaenys, or Rhaenys, as the British say it on the show, married Corlys, they're related still. And also Corlys is related to the king as well. You just have to go back far enough, but not even really that far. It's only been 100 years. So yeah, maybe they changed the canon for the TV show. That's what they said, by basically saying like we can join our houses, because it's already been done. It's already been done. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Daemon Velaryon, Aegon's master of ships, is a bastard of House Targaryen. I don't know. Don't quote me. But yeah, like I said, they're probably changing that canon for the show. Not that bad. The North must remember. So yeah, you all let me know in the chat. What do you all think of Corlys? What do you all think of Corlys Velaryon? I agree. I think he's okay. I mean, he hasn't done anything to make me not like him anyway. Right, but he's kind of a little bit cuntish, a little bit the way he just like talks to the king. You can't really, it's not really realistic. I'm sorry. That's not something that like nobody would have been able to talk to Robert like that. And I guess that they're showing you Viserys's priorities in a way, meaning that like Viserys doesn't really give a shit how people I guess deal with him. He has this main goal of like, yo, I have these crazy dreams. I have to save the world from these White Walkers. Corlys, who is close to me, he's on the small council. If he has like a bit of an attitude, I'll just accept it. But ultimately, I got to put him in check. Like, I am your king kind of thing. I don't know. That, like I said, I don't really know how to feel. And I think that's intentional. He has cool hair. Oh, shit. Damn, you did it again, buddy. The Northwest Remember says, Brett Jones mentioned Melisandre in the chat. Would you want to see her do a cameo in this? You know, I actually thought Mysaria is Melisandre. Eminem, she could just glamour herself into looking like Melisandre because of the events of what happens in House of the Dragon. At the end of House of the Dragon, if I'm not mistaken, she has a similar fate to Cersei's Walk of Shame. Holy shit, spoiler alert. She has a similar fate to Cersei's Walk of Shame, and she ends up dying. Like, doesn't Aegon 2 basically say, like, if you can make it to this certain step or whatever, and you're still alive, I'll let you walk free or something like that, right? Like, I can't remember her exact fate in the books, but she definitely dies. Maybe something similar to that happens, and then, you know, she's scarred or whatever, and she just changes her look through learning about a glamour, and she just ultimately, like, she's one of the last scenes we see her in, she turns into Melisandre, which is totally possible, because remember, Melisandre's that really old woman. That really old woman could totally be an Asian-looking Mysaria. She's really old and wrinkly. We don't know. Those boobies probably cause her to have trouble when she's stepping out of the shower. She probably steps on her nips all the time. Like, she was so old. First and second degree homicide. She didn't actually kill the person, but she was the driver to a drive-by car. In a way, I'm on the side of Corlys because Viserys only wants feasts, balls, and tourneys. No. I agree with what Corlys is saying. It's just the way he does it. Like, you can't just talk to the king and be like, I want to go do this. Like, even though he literally says, yo, chill out. We're gonna I don't want to declare open war and all this shit. And it's like I said, it's just the way he goes about doing it. I don't necessarily agree with it. Hell yeah. I just want to hang out, man. I don't want to do open wars. I got to get my finger worked on. I'm trying to play I thought that they would have Viserys sing a song, and it's not too late. It looks like it may happen in the next show when he's holding the baby, right? Which should be interesting. They're going to start giving you clues. The realm is going to be like, the future king, King Aegon the second. And Viserys is going to be like, nope, that's Rhaenyra. What the fuck are you guys saying? Calm down over there, my daughter. You know what I mean? So that'll be really fun. But yeah, no, he's just a chill dude. Yup. Been saying that for 3 years now. Kinvara will resurrect Daenerys. So really, there's more that I could say to that. I want it, but I want it to be done the right way, not in a fan servicey way, which would be like how I said it, which is that Mysaria turns into Melisandre. I would actually, I don't know, if we see a shy, maybe we could see Melanie of Lot 7. Isn't Melanie in a way even closer to Mysaria? That's Melisandre's real name. Melisandre has 2 POVs in A Dance with Dragons, and one of them she keeps thinking back on this memory. I guess in both of them. She keeps thinking back on this memory of how she was Melanie of Lot 7. Anybody else think Graham McTavish's accent is like super dope? Like, we don't really hear that many styles of like Scottish, hardcore Scottish accents in Game of Thrones. I think there was a few characters, but most of them sounded like from like the body of England, not so Scottish. Like, Ned sounded, northern, I guess, as shit, but he's like, hello, what the fuck? Where's the princess? Like, it's like crazy. He sounds like the dwarf from the fucking The Hobbit. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, yo, this is dope. I love it. It's hilarious. There used to be this commercial, or I think it was like a Scottish beer, and the person would go, "It's a dark lager," or whatever, and that's kind of who he reminds me of. He's a really good actor, and I'm just teasing. You know what I'm saying? She wanted to hear Sir Hunt say it. Along that. Wait, what was that? Who? Along that. That's for whoever wanted me to say it. Does Otto remind you of Littlefinger? Yes. Sir Otto reminds me of not only Littlefinger, but check this out. You ready for this comparison? You ready for this? Just nothing crazy. Tywin Lannister. That's the other one. Littlefinger, I've started thinking of recently. Like the first time I saw a clip and I heard him talk, I was like, yo, that's Littlefinger. He's got that weird Chandra, you must trust me, Chandra. I'm doing what's right for you and for House Stark. Like he's got that slow, weird way of talking that sounds super menacing and you know, makes you nervous when he's in a scene because you don't know what he's going to do or say, right? But also Tywin's relationship with Cersei, from not just in the books but on the TV show. TV show did a really good job of showing their relationship. Lena Headey and I'm sorry, Cersei and Tywin scenes together were really good. Like you could tell that they took that dialogue to another level. Like Tywin doesn't have any POVs in the books, but the way Cersei sees him is all from Cersei's side. And the TV show did a really good job of showing you how Tywin sees Cersei, because it also shows Tywin's POV a little bit in his alone time scenes. I don't know. But yeah, yes, he does. Sir Otto does remind me of Littlefinger and Tywin. Delroy LML says, I like how Damon and Rhaenyra talk to each other in his Valyrian and the majority doesn't understand. Hell yeah. And if you've been watching my videos, I'm not going to say, hey, pat on the back to me, I called it. No, not that. But I really did say I wish they did that, because it's like a way of like getting up on everybody around you. It's like basically like when my coworkers try to speak Spanish, not realizing that I understand Spanish, and they're like, haha, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, what is he doing over here? I'm like, okay. Right? Like that's so funny. That's what they're doing. There's probably going to be some funny moments, which is one thing that I haven't really seen that much of. Like there's been some jokes, there's been some gross out humor, like from Game of Thrones style. But one thing I saw from the critics who had like 6 episodes sent to them, they said that there wasn't as many funny moments. And I'm kind of sad that there's not that many funny moments, supposedly, according to those critics' sense of humor. But also, this is a much more serious TV show, and you could argue that the rinse, wash, repeat shit scene with Sam cleaning out those buckets it's what Pate the pig boy had to do when he's at the Citadel. Dan and Dave kind of added a bunch of shit but made Sam do that. Like, I'm glad those kind of jokes are like haven't really been shown, I guess, in the first 6 episodes, according to those critics. I don't really know. But yeah, I agree. It's dope that they have just like, there was an article that came out, I think with Matt Smith being interviewed, and he said him and Rhaenyra's love language is High Valyrian. I think it'll be a lot more serious when they're using it in later seasons, obviously, because there's going to be war, full out Dance with Dragons, civil war everywhere, all over the 7 kingdoms, but also later this season when we see Emma Darcy and they come in and they have scenes with Matt Smith. It'll be interesting to see if that chemistry that we see with Millie Alcock and Matt Smith is still there, and we see it in the older versions. So that'd be really cool. I know. He's trying to carry on what Jaehaerys has been doing. Sarcasm or for real? Because I thought a lot of people thought that. It just makes sense. Especially when you hear her talk. She's trying to do Melisandre's accent. Jon Snow, you know nothing, Jon Snow. Okay, I gotta listen to Melisandre. But she's pretty much trying to do her accent, like a thicker, much thicker version of her accent. And maybe that's why it sounds so weird and like Captain America to or Captain Planet to me, you know? Maybe that's why it sounds like that. It's because they intentionally told her, yo, you need to do Melisandre, listen to how she sounds, but then make it really thick. Like you're just now learning the common tongue. Whereas the Melisandre we see in Game of Thrones has had like, you know, several hundred more years of learning it. I mean, if we do see her and it's the show's version, she's already pretty old at this point. So she could already look like Melisandre and be using a glamour. And we could just not have seen the glamour yet. Maybe she wears it in a different... I mean, we've seen her naked. We've seen her full on naked. She's got a really nice body. It's going to be a little bit bigger. But why did I just say that? Y'all didn't hear me. But no, like maybe she has something on her that's like the glamour. Maybe it's in her hair. Maybe the glamour, instead of the ruby, Melisandre uses the ruby. Maybe she gets that later. Maybe she's using something in her hair. Maybe it's in her tiara. She wanted to be liberated, and Melanie of Lot 7 was a slave. Sold to the Temple of R'hllor. In a shy? Either way, it kind of fits. That was really funny. That reminded me of that scene where Jaime and Bronn are like, what's your name? And he goes, Dickon. And they start cracking up. Same thing. Very funny. That was a joke, and you're right. So I did miss that. Oh shit, we got a super chat from Heart of Inspiration. And he or they says, so are there White Walkers at this time? And they just haven't shown up yet? Sorry if it's a silly question. Well, not a silly question. It's actually got a lot more prevalence now that we know that Aegon had this dream of a great threat coming from the north, and that secret has been passed on from king to king, right? So a lot of Targaryens get these things called dragon dreams, and a lot of the times the Targaryens are getting dragon dreams about either what's happening to Daenerys or what's going to happen to Daenerys, and they misinterpret it and think it's going to happen to them. So it makes them do crazy shit. Like there's this one Targaryen who literally thinks that basically his brother's like this drunken guy who gets these dreams, and he thinks, and I'm talking about Aerion Brightflame, he thinks that wait, no. Okay, so dragon dreams can be, this is like a side note to your question. I'm about to answer your question in a second, but dragon dreams can be good or bad, right? So you have dragon dreams like Dany's a dreamer who basically got all the Targaryens out of the Doom of Valyria, and then you also have dragon dreams like is it Daeron the Drunken from Dunk and Egg? Daeron the Drunken has dragon dreams and it makes him just drink all the time, right? So if that's the case, and Aegon had these dreams, right, that there's White Walkers coming from the north, they probably subsided when he conquered Westeros the first time. We have heard, for the most part, a lot of the things that have happened during Aegon's conquest. What we don't know is that he could have potentially the dreams that he had, right, in the TV show universe about the White Walkers could have been current, meaning that if he hadn't have united Westeros and made his dragons present in Westeros, then the White Walkers might have invaded, meaning that the presence of his three dragons, Balerion, Meraxes, and Vaghar, obviously, maybe their presence in Westeros made the White Walker threat initially succeed, and that's why he took over Westeros. He's like not just uniting the Six Kingdoms. Dorne isn't brought in until later, but he's not just taking over Westeros to take it over because he's power hungry. He's doing it to literally make that current threat of the White Walkers succeed. Like it's cyclical. Everything goes around, comes around in the Game of Thrones universe. So that basically White Walkers are always there. They're always going to be there. There's no way to truly get rid of them. And that's probably what this Jon Snow show is going to touch on, in my opinion. Everyone is human in the show. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. Everyone is human in the show. Hell yes, they are. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll to the bottom of the chat because I'm way behind on the chat. I'm like reading comments from like 20 minutes ago. And then we're going to talk about my boy Damon. And I'm probably going to wrap up the live stream because we've actually been live streaming for well over an hour. Holy crap. And we still have over 150 people watching. Thank you so fucking much to every single person watching and every single person who sent a super chat and every single person who left a comment that hopefully I tried to answer. Like I said, I'm going to have a video dropping as soon as this video ends within the next, 30 minutes or so. It's going to be, more in depth breaking down certain scenes. But where was the question that I just had lined up? I thought I just picked. Where did it go? Can't believe Viserys the First is named after Mad Prince Viserys. Now, I know you're not talking about Viserys, Daenerys' brother Viserys. It's like 130 years before then. That's not the question I had lined up either. I just saw that. There we go. Damon looked badass once they came to Dragonstone and Syrax pulled up. Hell yeah. It was really funny that he's like clutching the egg like that. He's like, oh, this is mine. And what I thought was moss on the bottom of it, because it's from a liquid, I thought it was maybe like in a damp area and moss was going. No, that's actually part of like the egg birthing thing from when the dragon drops the clutch of eggs. That's like the slimy shit that we saw Damon. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's literally something that's in my video that's about to be coming out. But when dragons have eggs, I would assume like birds, there's like some fluid that drops out with it, and that's what that shit on the bottom of the egg is. And when they put it in that dragon kiln, I bet you that burns it off, and then we get the nice round dragon scaled dragon egg that we see that we seen a bunch of pictures of in the promotional stuff. All right. So Damon will be starting war in the Stepstones. Everybody in the chat, tell me where you're from. I'm going to shout out every location. All right, listen, I'm going to try. I'm also looking to see if there's any more comments or super chats that I missed, because definitely, obviously, don't want to miss those. Indeed, it is known. That's a new canon for the TV show, which doesn't just mean like, holy shit, Bran's not a Targaryen at all. Bran has like none. Bran has no Targaryen blood. Period. Maybe a little bit. Okay, a little bit, but not enough. Not what he meant. They mean a white-haired, preferably dragon-riding Targaryen sitting on the Iron Throne. Jon will do. He's half Targaryen. Even though there's some Blackwood blood in there because of his grandmother, and then they're also really inbred. But basically, his dad, Rhaegar, is Targaryen, and his mother, Lyanna, is Stark. So it's like a perfect mix. Jon should be sitting on the Iron Throne, but he's not. He's up north. Daenerys should be sitting on the Iron Throne. She's killed. There's no Targaryen sitting on the Iron Throne. We all knew what happened when there was no Stark in the north. There was no Stark in Winterfell. There always must be a Stark in Winterfell. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of implications this has for kind of what I was just answering in the last question from Heart of Inspiration. This is kind of relating back to that. All right, so I see people are starting to drop their locations. All right, let's do this. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Canada, Wisconsin, Detroit, Pensacola, Oregon, Palm Bay, the hills of Tennessee, Louisville, Annapolis, Maryland. Oh shit, I kind of grew up near an area close to there. Vegas, Kuwait, Baltimore. Yes, but they could totally make a new one out of all the conquering that Daenerys has to do. Daenerys is going to have to bend the entirety of Westeros if she comes back. She's going to have to. She can't just go and kill Jon Snow. She'll actually be advised to not do that because that would immediately make everybody... I don't know. I don't want to talk about that because we're Kansas, Goldsboro, Chicago, Brooklyn. Did I already do Baltimore? I think I did. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody who's watching this now. Thanks to every single person who is watching this after it's live, watching it on a playback, check out the chat. It should be playing back too. You'll see a lot of comments and questions that I might have missed where people had some really good ideas, thoughts, or comments, questions about the show, right? Maybe you can answer them down below in the comment section. Please do me a massive favor, slap a like on this video. Like goal is going to be as many as possible. There's 161 people watching right now, so maybe the like goal will be 161, but ultimately 420, baby. I have a video that's about to drop within the next 20 minutes. So make sure you have your notifications turned on and that you subscribe. My name's Mark. Special singles shout out to every single member of my channel. So basically what that means is if you join for like $1.99, you get to watch all of my videos with no ads. And then also you get to use emojis that you've probably been seeing in the chat, right? So there's like the George R. Martin emoji, the hand of the king emoji, right? The emoji of me, the drawing that I did of me, and other fun shit like that. Eventually, I'm going to be doing members only live streams, not while the show's on, but soon. Also, a special thank you to every single member of my Patreon family. And then also thank you for watching Long Night. Episode 3 will be out soon. I'm gonna have an in-depth breakdown up in the next couple of days, but the next video that you see after actually no, it's not true. 30 minutes, you're gonna get a video from me, and then video after that will be breaking down what's gonna happen in episode 3. My name is Mark. This has been. Now I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. The North remembers you. You made me in the live stream early. How does that feel, buddy? I'm just kidding. Long night, Zeltrizza sposare, excelsta or